Well, hello and welcome to The One Show with Gabby Logan.
And Matt Baker. And tonight's guest is not just a rock and roll legend, he's a force of nature.
Too right. He's a member of the biggest rock and roll band in the world, still playing to sell-out crowds all around the globe.
He's an internationally renowned artist, still producing work at a prolific rate.
He's a dad of 6, a grandfather of 6, and he's just celebrated his 70th birthday.
And he still has the energy to run around after one-year-old twins. It is, of course, Ronnie Wood!
Evening, Ronnie.
Well, hello.
Great to see you looking too well, my friend.
And in your 70th year, I imagine that was a big party.
Yeah, it was. It was a bit of a cloud at the time for me because I was still kind of under anaesthetic. But yeah, I'm here to talk about it.
And was it raucous? Was it as wild as those parties back in the day?
Well, there were some people that I hadn't seen for years. They come from all over the world. It was a surprise party, so that was really nice.
Oh.
And of all the things that you've seen, the places you've been, what do people get you at the age of 70, Ronnie? What kind of presents came your way that day?
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's a good question because I think I left most of them there. Debbie, follow. I'm coming back for those presents.
Yeah.
No, there were some good things. My son Tyrone got me, he knows I collect walking sticks, and it seemed to be a little bit more pungent, sort of another stick for you, Dad.
Right.
But
Is that for country walks, your country pursuits?
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's a beautiful stick, actually. Silver and maple, and anyway. I got some really interesting presents, but I won't go into that right now.
I'm sure you got paints, lots of lovely paints as well, because you're here to talk about your wonderful artwork, Ronnie. It really is something else. And Ronnie's not the only music legend that we're going to be celebrating tonight. 40 years ago today, we lost the king of rock and roll, Elvis Presley.
And those images of Elvis are in your new art book, Artist. We're going to be talking about that. And, of course, you'll be paying your own tribute to the King a little bit later on.
Yeah, and in this book, Ronnie, you also feature some of the set lists that you do for the Stones. And you have very kindly done one with our running order tonight. So you've been busy with the felt-tip pens down in your dressing room. Thank you.
Yeah, fantastic. Tell us what is coming up next, then.
Right, I think the next category is naming and shaming. Which remains to be seen.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, we'll pop that there just for now, because earlier this year we revealed how Debenhams was paying some of its workers less than the national minimum wage. Currently, it's £7.50 per hour for over 25s, putting it right at the top of a government name and shame list.
Now, another high street favourite has been found selling its staff short. Here's Matt.
First, it was Debenhams, named and shamed as the worst offender for failing to pay nearly 12,000 workers the national minimum wage.
Well, Debenhams may have cleared up its act, but 6 months on, the government has brought out a new list of minimum wage offenders. And the news from the high street still isn't very good.
This time, 233 employers across the UK have been outed for not paying the national minimum wage. And
The One Show can now exclusively reveal that it is retail giants Argos who are top of the list.
the catalogue store underpaid just over 12,000 members of staff, a staggering 1.5 million between 2012 and 2016.
It's the biggest underpayment since the government started naming and shaming back in 2013.
Argos have had to pay every penny back to its workers, on top of a £1.4 million fine from HMRC. But is that enough to stop this from happening again?
Now, the purpose of naming and shaming is to force businesses to publicly put their house in order. But it only works, of course, if Argos customers give a monkeys. So do they? Would you still shop there if you knew that Argos were not meeting their obligations on minimum wage?
No.
Someone to be below that threshold is quite astounding.
Well, I probably wouldn't shop there if that was a prolific problem.
We believe in fair money to pay everybody, because the way things are, the low paid and stuff like that is taking a raw deal.
And that's something the unions feel strongly about. Matt Draper from Unite says underpayments should never happen.
It disgusts me to when I find out that there's been a failing to pay. A large company failed to pay minimum wage, yet they never fail to pay the CEO, the main directors, they're astronomical wages. Whilst the minimum wage is not being paid, there's people that are living on the breadline, because let's be realistic, the minimum wage is set there for a reason.
Argos was taken over by Sainsbury's last year. We asked them for an interview, but they declined. Instead, they sent us a statement.
A Sainsbury's spokesperson said, "We were made aware of the issue shortly after buying Argos and worked with HMRC to resolve it as quickly as possible."
They wanted to assure us that Sainsbury's prides itself on being a trusted brand where people love to work, and they said processes have been updated to ensure this cannot happen again.
Good for them.
But Argos is far from being alone on that government blacklist. Underpayment is clearly still a problem across the board. Margot James MP is Under Secretary of State for the Department of Business.
Is this naming and shaming really working if 4 years in we're still seeing big names like Argos and Debenhams failing to pay minimum wage?
Workers have been paid back £6 million in arrears that they would otherwise not have got. And naming and shaming is an important part of deterring other companies from thinking that they can get away with it. But were it not for the enforcement, you know, they may well have continued underpaying their workers. Who knows?
The fine, though, doesn't affect the chief executive.
Well, I would contest the fact that they get no downside to their reputation personally. I think if I were running a company, as I was until I came into politics, to underpay people on the minimum wage, I think is a disgrace, and I would have found that very upsetting and embarrassing had that happened to my own company.
So the government says that naming and shaming works. The people I've spoken to today agree they would avoid companies who don't play fair by their employees.
The question is, will we see another big high street name on the next list?
We hope not, and hopefully this is the last time we'll have to name and shame, but we'll be keeping an eye on that story.
Right, we're on to this bit now, Ronnie. Good news. There we are, look. Ronnie Wood, artist.
Which, of course, is the title of your new book, which features work going right back to early times in your career and early paintings of yours. Is it, in some ways, a biography shown through your art, a story of your life?
It's an eye-opener for me to see, like, my first oil painting that I did when I was 12, and my first horse, I was even younger, coming right up to portraits and landscapes, and through the nudes and stuff I've done at the ballet. It's a plethora of different subject matter.
Well, this is the thing, because you've been an artist longer than you've been a musician, and I mean, there's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of paintings and bits of work in here, Ronnie.
Thames and Hudson wouldn't let me put any more in. Don't blur the
How did you
image.
manage to choose what to put in, and where did you get them all from? Because surely they're not just all at home, are they?
With great difficulty, I dug a lot of them up, and then to get them photographed in high res, and ones that have been stolen and got back, and ones that were in other people's hands, taking them out of frames and getting them photographed. And
First ever job was art-related because you were a trainee sign writer.
Yeah.
And this is incredible because you must have had or kept hold of this for such a long time. It's your first paid bit of work.
Yeah, well, the local man from Bush Radio in my little town of Useley, he commissioned me to paint for his radio shop. Before that, though, this was the local pet shop. I think I got about 12 shillings for doing it. But that was a lot of money for a little struggling schoolboy.
It's super, though. I mean, the dog, especially at the top left, I mean, the likeness.
Yeah, it's pretty good stuff. I mean, to see it now is hilarious. It's probably like 60 years old, you know.
But I was reading as well that your brothers were artists, and you'd sort of watch them, and sort of your style evolved from kind of copying or taking.
Yeah, little Ronnie used to be. I was 8 years and 10 years younger than them, so I'd always get in the way, you know, of their girlfriends and all the art school mob, and that little Ronnie's here again. Send him down the shop, but I would copy them playing music, and I would copy them drawing.
Yeah. And of course, you've painted a lot of the band. Are they very supportive? Do they let you go away when you're on tour and have a moment just to go and take your creative?
Yeah, well, I take these moments anyway, and I make sketches and stuff on tour. And
I guess you know them so well, and you've seen them, you know, more than anybody else in their lives. So you capture something in their faces that nobody else could, really.
Yeah, I think if you get the face and the eyes especially, I did, this was a concentrated 2-week study. I did individual oil paintings with the band, and then it ended up with the big picture of the Beggar's Banquet. That I took artistic license, even though I wasn't in the band. I put myself in the painting.
You can do that.
But yeah, the band has taken on a different meaning, you know, both artistically and musically over the years, and I try to follow it with the line.
And two of the most emotive drawings and paintings that you've got in here are of your parents, and that's who you dedicate the book to. So you've got your mum and dad here, both very different styles, Ronnie. And
well,
so
Mum is a pen and ink there.
Yeah, yeah.
And Archie is more of a wash of
yeah.
a brush.
And what are you trying to say in these particular portraits here? What did you feel of your mum and dad and their kind of characteristics here? Because your dad looks very similar to you.
Yeah, you put a black wig on there. Not that mine's a wig, but yeah, he does look quite a lot like me. It was like, whoa, that big nose and the big old lug holes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. What was he like?
He was a very warm character. He was like from the music hall, really. He'd entertain you, tell you a joke, sing you a song, play harmonica, busk on the piano.
So your performance gene came from him, presumably?
The front, the actual confidence.
Well, you'll be performing very soon again because, of course, you're going on tour in September and October, so taking the paints with you, I imagine. Yeah,
we're back rehearsing next week. Yeah. And Mum, getting back to the other drawing, it was so sweet. She only went abroad once. She came to Paris with me when the Stones were rehearsing there and recording. And this was her looking out over Avenue Victor Hugo.
Oh, really?
We were staying near the Etoile. And I'd say, well, what do you think of Paris, Mum? She said, that one in the red dress is back a bit early. Her day job.
Well, there's so many beautiful paintings, like we've said. And you mentioned horses right at the start, Ronnie. And, I mean, these are some of my favourite, too. I mean, very special, the way you've captured those in motion. Gorgeous,
yeah, they are beautiful. I know horses are very important to you, but our very own George McGavin also likes painting horses, just not quite in the same way.
Yeah.
Well, you might be wondering why we're painting stripes on this horse. It's a special one-show experiment designed to solve one of nature's greatest mysteries. Just why do zebras have stripes?
Over the years, there have been many theories, from social communication to camouflage and even heat dissipation. But so far, none of these have quite convinced the scientific community. Finally, some cutting-edge research being done at Bristol University may provide the answer. Martin Howe is leading the project.
It's a question that's confused scientists for years and years, right back to Darwin and Wallace. And one of the theories that's gained the most traction recently is that maybe these stripes are targeted at biting insects. And one of the mechanisms that we think is at play here is an optical illusion. So I'll give you an example here. If we spin this patterned high contrast disc.
Right. Oh, that's very disturbing, isn't it? Because the outer ring looks as if it's going that way. The next ring looks as if it's going that way.
That's right. And we're very interested in whether something similar to that is somehow confusing biting flies as they're coming to land on zebras.
Insects have compound eyes made up of potentially thousands of individual light receptors. They are excellent at detecting movement, which is why swatting a fly is so difficult. But what look like plain old stripes to us actually cause a disorientating, dazzling effect to a compound eye. To illustrate this, Martin and the team have set up what they call a free-flying arena, the walls of which have either zebra stripes or a more natural pattern projected onto them. Above the arena, a camera system is set up to record the fly's movements. After releasing a fly, Martin will run the footage through some tracking software to reveal the fly's exact flight path.
So you'll see down here, there's a little yellow ring here. That's where the computer thinks that the fly is.
Right.
So should we play through and see if we can see what the fly is doing? So let's see.
There we go.
Oh, there he is, taken off.
So it's
He's
gone
not
to
landed
the
on that
stripe
wall.
and it's gone away from that wall.
Oh, and there we go. You see, he came into land, he
Yeah.
slowed right down, and
Yes.
landed nicely on that random wall there.
That's very cool.
The fly's reluctance to land on the stripes is even clearer when we slow our footage down by more than 50 times. It seems it prefers the more natural pattern. And their lab results are further backed up by their work in the field. Sure enough, the horses were bitten more than the zebras. But what if horses just taste better than zebras? To put this to the test, the One Show has painted Snowy the horse to look like a zebra. He's spent the last 3 hours in makeup being disguised with hypoallergenic, non-toxic paint to see if his new zebra look will protect him from bites.
Go on then. You can make friends afterwards.
I'm going to record how many times Snowy is bitten or irritated by the flies over 30 minutes compared to our control horse.
Well, now all I've got to do is just count how many flies land on each of the horses. Has had none at all. So if I'm going to be walking the plains of East Africa, I'm going to be wearing a stripy suit.
There are no flies on George.
There are. I've got it. Zebra-striped horse blankets will make a fortune. Me and thee.
They're already out there.
Oh, gutted.
Mike Dodger's here. Mike, and the question that comes to mind when you see that is, why are all the animals in the savannah not covered in stripes?
It's down to the thickness of your skin. If you've got to hide like a rhino, Gabby, mosquitoes, tsetse flies are not going to bite you, or Ronnie. But if you've got thin skin, which unfortunately zebras do, then they've got to develop another tool in their armoury, and they've evolved the stripes. And other animals have stripes as well, but not to the same effect that the zebras do.
Okay. So tell us, what kind of animals have stripes then?
Things like okapirs, some of the kind of the springboks and impalas will have them as well. But it's only the zebra that has got it down to a fine art.
OK. And there are some other animals, namely a snake, that uses stripes, are there not, to help it?
For its own protection, Matt. The optical illusion, the garter snake. Lots of people have them at home, garter snakes. A good pet, North American, non-venomous snake. The only problem is lots of things eat it, like raccoons and hawks. You watch those long stripes all the way down, you get mesmerised by the stripes, and the predators don't know which direction the snake's going or how fast it's going, and it can protect itself. If it does get grabbed, it hides its head and pretends its tail is its head. And if it bites the tail, that's the non-vital part, and it lives to fight another day.
And there is a human application of stripes.
Indeed,
not just in
inspired by nature. World War I warships, look at these. They basically use that for this motion dazzle technique for World War I warships. So you imagine you're a German U-boat submarine, up goes the periscope, and you see that ship. You can't tell which way that ship's going, how fast it's going, which is the bow, which is the stern. Terribly clever. Inspired by nature.
And it's time to talk about a bit of romance as well now, Mike.
Fiddler crabs. Fiddler crabs. Everyone loves a fiddler crab. Well known. The males have really large pincers, and the females have two the same size. The females dig a male with a really big pincer. It's an optical illusion. The females love a big pincer. If you've got a big pincer, you're going to get lots of matings. If you have a modest-sized pincer, you won't get as many female crabs. So what you do is you surround yourselves by guys with little tiny pincers to make your pincer look much larger than it is.
I'm getting impossible sitting there.
This is known as the Ebbinghaus illusion. This is principally came out in 1901, and it's all about tricking the brain into fooling about the size of these orange circles. So which one, Ronnie, out of those circles is the larger one?
They're the same size.
He's such a smart bloke. That one looks bigger because it's surrounded itself by small ones. But if I peel it off, I put it together, Ronnie is officially top of the class.
He already knew about the Ebbinghaus
such a
principle.
smart
Thank you so much. All right, set list. What is next?
Oh, well, we've done zebras.
Let's
do
Knockout
Sister. Yeah, and this refers to a boxing club with a difference up in Newcastle. Here's Marine Big.
Boxing has traditionally been a male-dominated sport. But in 2009, women's boxing was officially accepted on the world scene, paving the way for successful female boxers like Olympic and Commonwealth champion Nicola Adams.
In the UK, around a third of all people who box are female. But for some of these women, the fight has not just been in the ring.
Until very recently, many British Muslim females have found accessing any kind of sport difficult, mainly due to the lack of women-only facilities available and sportswear that conflicts with their Islamic dress code.
But here in Newcastle, an all-female boxing club has been set up called Knockout Sister.
This group has allowed Muslim women of all ages to get fit, boost confidence and learn self-defense. Figures show there's been a rise in hostility towards Muslim women in the last few years. So Aisha Aslam's family have actively encouraged her to take up boxing.
I'm a Muslim woman, but I think people don't always associate me with being a Muslim woman because I don't wear a hijab, and you do. So do you think now Muslim women need to learn self-defense more than they had to previously?
Absolutely. There's so much more hate crime now, and wearing a headscarf, hijab, it's sort of, we're in the spotlight, you know, okay, straight away, she's a Muslim. Yeah. So I'm always put in a situation where possibly it could happen to me. And no, my parents don't want me to be vulnerable and, you know, put myself in a situation where I won't be able to protect myself, defend myself. So yeah, it is important for us Muslim women to learn how to box.
Aisha's sister, Hira, works as a local pharmacist, and she took up boxing following an incident at work.
The methadone patient had missed his dose for 3 consecutive days. He could not remember that, and I had to refuse dose, and he didn't like that, basically. So he displayed threatening behaviour towards me. So that made me think that I do need to learn something that requires self-defence.
Okay.
So I heard about this class, about Knockout Sisters, and that was it.
Samar Asamoah has been coming here for 6 months. She wears the niqab when out in public.
I noticed there were loads of non-Muslim women here as well, and I guess they just feel more comfortable.
Yeah, I mean, it's open for all women, you know, it's not just Muslim women specifically, and, you know, I don't cover when I'm doing my training sessions as well, so it's good that it can come and, you know, you wear what you feel comfortable in to work out.
Samar has encouraged her daughter Sumaya to come along and get involved with the club, and she thinks no one should stop Muslim women from having this opportunity.
Muslim men who are discouraging their wives for, you know, any female relative of his into going into sports, I'd ask if he's afraid. That's what I would ask. Like, what are you afraid of? Seriously. I mean, contact sports has got a benefit. You can defend yourself. The physical fitness aspect is there as well. You know, it's good to keep fit and healthy. You know, and that's part of Islam as well, maintaining a good, you know, physical fitness, looking after your body, you know, as well as your, you know, your soul and your mind. So it's all round.
With all women boxing and sports clubs like this one found around the country, it should give Muslim women the possibility and opportunity to both integrate and participate without compromising their religion.
Being here today and seeing these women enriching their lives in such a positive manner is truly inspiring. In a world where we are rarely given glimpses of Muslim women in sporting capacities, clubs like this are helping to strip away negative opinions and misconceptions. It seems the future for Muslim sportswomen can only get better.
Well, we can't show a film like that and not show the greatest, Muhammad Ali, who, of course, you painted a few times and they're in the book. Spectacular.
And you were just saying, Ronnie, you met him as well.
Yeah, he was a pleasure to be around. He liked to think himself as a conjurer and a man with a sleight of hand and tricks. And it was really great.
And he set
fun.
you up with a little challenge almost, did he?
Yeah, when I was with him in New York, we were in his hotel room and he said, hey, for fun, let's go down on 5th Avenue. You walk one side of the street and I'll walk down the other and we'll stop the traffic.
I'm sure you did.
I thought, yeah, I know he's going to stop that traffic.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Hey, Ronnie, look, he's over there. Anyway, now, Scottish students received their Highers results last week, and tomorrow is D-Day for thousands of A and AS level students in the rest of the UK. All of them, of course, hoping to get the results that they want. Fingers crossed for everyone.
But as Kate McIntyre discovers, you can't always get what you want. Sometimes you just might find you get what you need.
Get in.
Whether the memory of getting your A-level results is a fun one or one surrounded by disappointment, it could well have been a pivotal moment that was set to shape the rest of your life. Whew. So what do the people of Leeds remember about their A-level results, for better or for worse? Do you remember getting your A-level results?
I do, yes. I took 3, but I only
1:30.
So how did they affect your next step in life?
I didn't go to university. I went travelling instead, and then became a mum, and then I did a degree when I was 40.
Fantastic!
So it's never too late. I got a C in psychology.
Do you remember getting your A-level results?
Yeah, actually, I do, you know. A bit of advice, just, you know, don't sweat it. You know, just take it as it goes. And yeah, I mean, I'm working in Lloyd's and I didn't really do well at school. I got 3 C's.
I got an A in geography, which I was really pleased about because my teacher at the time predicted me something else. So I was a bit like, I am going to get an A.
So what did you do to celebrate? Did you all go out?
Yeah, I went out with some friends. Yeah.
And did you invite the geography teacher?
I didn't, no. But I'll never forget that. It stays with you, doesn't it? Things like that.
Absolutely.
And I got 2 A's, a B and a C.
When I got to school, I was a nervous wreck, like in the car all the way there. I was like texting my friends, and when I got them, it was fantastic. I got one I needed.
Would you say that it felt like quite a life-changing moment?
Yeah, because it's like you spent 8 years of your life, you know, with all of these people, and then it's coming to an end, and all of these results are like a culmination of all of that. I got A, B, B, C.
Now, guys, I know you know full well that the A-level results come out tomorrow because you're both teachers. So are you going to be actually giving them tomorrow?
Yeah, I'll be going to school and handing them out, yeah, seeing their excited faces.
So for the students then, do you think it's actually a life-changing moment when they open those results?
I think you hinge so much on certain decisions when you're that age, and I didn't actually get into my first choice university despite coming out with 3 A's.
Wow.
But my life has gone wonderful pathways that you can't really anticipate. I've spent years abroad, I've spent years in different careers, so as long as you're willing to work for it, it'll come good.
Yeah, it's amazing what happens in your life when you don't get the results you need. That's all I'll say.
As we said earlier, it's the 40th anniversary of Elvis Presley's death, and you will be strumming us something very soon, Ronnie, but you came so close to having a personal one-on-one meeting with him, didn't you, before he died?
Yeah, I went to the hospital that he was in, and I almost had the courage to say, I'm from the Rolling Stones, let me up there, but I chickened out, and as I walked away, I thought, I wonder if I'm going to regret this, not meeting him. And then all the time, up in his room, I heard he had Jimmy Page and Robert Plant up there. And I thought, oops.
And if you'd have got that chance, Ronnie, what do you think you would have said to him?
I guess we would have just exchanged verbal riffs.
Yeah,
you know,
okay.
I got a feeling we'd
which,
have just got on.
Would you riff for us now a little bit?
Yeah.
Play us out, yeah?
Oh, nice.
On the playlist, it's down as Heartburn Motel.
Will you keep going for us, Ronnie? Will you play us out as we crack on?
Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thanks to you too, Gabby. It's been a lovely evening. Alex and I will be here tomorrow with Len Goodman.
Absolutely, we'll see you then.
Good night.
Fake celebrity endorsements. You want to lose pounds in